No song, man.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well,
happy.
I mean, let's just say this. This last week and this week, impeccable. Like the production quality is just top notch.
I'll be honest with you. I've never been happier.
You get to show up and just be.
Is this full time now? Are you full time producer again?
I just thought I would take it over so that we don't have any fiascos that got Randy burned. Last time. You said there was only one link, but lo and behold, when I log in, I'm like, here's another link here.
But I only set up one link.
Okay, well,
I swear I only set up one link.
I think there was somebody in the grassy knoll. So
the only thing I'm thinking of is because
you forgot the guy on the top of the bridge too.
Like I'm doing the Pod Raid, podcast with Jay and my brother-in-law, and Jay had me do it again today. And when I flip over the thing, I'm going, "What's the code? What's the code? I need the code." And he goes, "Why do you need the code?" I go, "I don't know." He goes, "You do know?" I go, "Because it's asking me for the code." That's why I don't have access to his email account, Geek Dad Life. All
right.
So I'm like going, because remember I was doing before I left. I had to do it again, and there was some problem. So I don't know if there's just switching accounts. Did something. But I only maybe. I don't like setting up one account, one link. Why would I set up two?
I don't know.
I don't understand. And there was only one.
It was
link.
Wild. It was some wild.
I only saw one link. So again, it could have been me.
Back and to the left. Anyway, I don't mind taking over for a while. You've been you got us up to the 100. 100 and subscribers.
And if the extra link is what got me kicked off being producer, I'm more than happy to accept it.
I mean, if you're changing roles, can Jack sing the song now every week?
Oh, Jack sings the song, and then Chris takes notes.
Chris takes notes, yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather do that. I'd rather sing the song than take the notes. But I don't have a ukulele. I can't play an instrument. I can't even play the spoons. Maybe I can play the forks.
Spoon man.
I remember when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I think I saw it on Bozo the Clown. Somebody was playing the spoons. I go, I want to play the spoons.
Yeah.
No, I was told no.
Oh, your parents were like, you can't.
We're not buying any spoons. Then they got me a kazoo one year when I was in Pennsylvania. And they I think eventually someone stepped on it because they got tired. They got tired of me playing the kazoo. I'm not saying that's what happened.
I think there was an assassination attempt on
I think there was.
Mm-hmm. Was it glass? Was it a bullet? We'll never know. Yeah.
No.
So.
There's a kazoo played on Ringo Starr's Ringo record.
Really?
I was watching a thing. Actually, it's actually not a kazoo. I think it was about that. I was watching a YouTube video of going track for track down that record.
It was a skin flute.
No, it's actually Paul McCartney just doing.
I'm not playing that either.
And then with his voice, doing it with his voice, and then they kind of made it sound like an actual kazoo.
Maybe I could do the Peter Frampton one.
That's a
whatever it is.
Box. What they called?
Mount.
It was cool in the 70s.
The 70s,
yeah.
Sure.
With his was that song 15 minutes long?
Okay.
Oh, do you feel like
now there was one time they were playing 4th of July downtown Indianapolis. He was playing, and it just so happened to be.
What did he lose? Did he lose a bet?
No, we were walking.
Did he lose a bet?
Maybe, I don't know, but they were playing though.
Yeah.
And I remember walking with my girlfriend to the park because we lived downtown, and we were just walking to it. And the way that the music kind of filled the city, it was such a cool vibe.
Yeah.
I could understand.
What year was this?
2000.
Really?
Maybe 2001.
And he used to have a great head of hair.
Oh yeah.
I think no, because we weren't together in 01. So I guess it would have been maybe 99. 99
he is the person I always think of though when it comes to buyer's remorse, like him, because he is a great player. But you look at all of his studio records up until Frampton Comes Alive, he wasn't really that successful. He was
actually dead. They found out. And that's why
And,
they were so excited about he was alive.
that he
And
was
that's why they
alive.
called
Yeah,
it.
like,
Yeah.
wow, you know.
He came alive. Finally.
But
And
then
then
after that record, you know,
it was
blew him
dead
up.
again.
I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure he was. I think that record is considered the first platinum record because
Really?
they didn't have that. They only had gold up until like 1975, and that's as high.
They
Even
hadn't
though they
invented
sold,
platinum.
they had never had like a platinum level.
Mm.
And
So do you think he was
never-
more talented with hair than without it?
Well, he was Samson, yeah. And
Yeah. So I think that's what it is.
it is interesting, like when you watch behind the scenes of Almost Famous, that 1998 film
Yeah.
that Cameron Crowe from San Diego wrote and directed. You know, Peter Frampton was the one that taught them how to play, like in the band.
Oh, really?
He was like the on-set consultant.
I
And-
did
he
not.
was the
Well, this is
music-
there's
He
a
also wrote the music. Yeah,
there's
him
some
and Nancy
there
Wilson.
is the behind the scenes of Almost Famous.
Yeah, if you get the bootleg copy, it's not actual bootleg. It's just what it's called. It's
Uh-huh.
like the extended version of it.
Right, right.
It's far superior than the cinematic version. It's
So,
it's a good
that-
45 minutes longer.
That
And you
late
also
90s, late
ahead.
90s, early 2000s, that was so peak for having all of this bonus content on
Yeah.
DVDs, and you know what I mean? Like, and even today, like there's stuff that you can't see, unless you have the DVDs for some of these
The,
things.
the gag reel.
The gag reels.
Because remember a lot of movies you go to the theater
Mm.
and they'd end it with the gag reel, and now that's part of the you got to buy the movie. It's like the Fall Guy.
Yeah.
They have all these extra stuff if you buy the movie, and I'm tempted to do it because I really like the movie.
Yeah,
but I was like, because I want to see the gag reel and stuff. But
so for the bootleg, I think that's what it's called. It's just, it's basically the extended version of Almost Famous, but like the bootleg version or copy of it, like it's a good 45 minutes longer or an hour longer than the theatrical cut. And aside from just the bonus of seeing these scenes really be fleshed out more, the true greatness of it is put on the audio commentary. And it's Cameron Crowe, and at different stages, it's different members of the cast talking about the scenes, and it's excellent. Like,
I didn't know Frampton taught him how to play.
Yeah, like he wrote all of the songs that Stillwater performs. He taught James. Is it James? The lead singer, and he taught them all like what to do, and what it was like in the period. Yeah, it's interesting to hear all that and the
now who's the group supposed to be? Was it
It's just a fictional band.
It wasn't. I always thought it was based on a band like Cream.
Well, everything in the movie is based on. It could, a lot of it is based on Led Zeppelin, especially "I'm a Golden God" scene. Like,
I remember that part. Yeah,
that's straight. Robert Plant on A True Story. There's a lot. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why the having Cameron Crowe talk about each scene, he tells you like exactly when this happened in his life. Because there's a scene also that I think it's only in the bootleg copy. You see a snippet of it where he says, I've outgrown them musically, but the more successful we get, the more the bigger their houses get, the more money they make. So that's why he doesn't leave them. But there's also more to that scene where he
I might get this.
Yeah, he kind of bullies him a little bit in like, just make us look cool, like write this, and that's straight Glenn Frey. So he everything that's in it is something has happened to him. In that period.
So it's a mixture of different.
A mixture of different bands. Yeah.
Okay. Because I haven't seen that movie in.
It's such a great film.
Years.
And like it's things like that you really love to hear too. The end credits when the movies end, the first song you hear is "Free Flows," by the Beach Boys, and Carl had just died that summer, and Brian Wilson was in the audience sitting near Cameron Crowe at the premiere because there was going to be a Beach Boys song in it, and Brian was just in tears, saying, "I just really miss Carl," because he just died.
Yeah.
So it's like I like hearing those, and like even when he asked Elton John for Tiny Dancer, Elton sent him the master copy of the record of the reel to reel, and he's like he goes, one thing that's weird is like I think Cameron Crowe says this is like when you know a song your entire life and you love that song, and all of a sudden you hear the master copy of it, you always forget that there's always like seconds before and seconds after. they cut it at certain spots so you can actually hear them talking before they go, okay, and they're talking about some random person, and like you hear, like he's like Elton said, like, who's Reginald or something, and so he asked him later, he's like, so who's this person, and he's like, hell if I know, but it was just whatever conversation they were having in the can.
Has Cameron Crowe made a movie lately? I mean, written a movie lately?
No, the last thing I think he did was We Bought a Zoo.
I never saw that.
No, yeah, that was terrible. It's not terrible.
Terrible.
The last feature film I think he did was We Bought a Zoo, but he lost his ass on it. It just was not marketed right and all that. And then he did make for Showtime or Stars a series called Roadies, which had potential to be
good. I remember. I watched that, and it was
it was too slow.
It was very slow. It was with Owen Wilson, right? Owen Wilson and
was it Owen or Luke? I think it was Luke.
No, Luke Wilson. I'm sorry, Luke Wilson. One of the Wilsons.
It had a pretty good cast, and it had a lot of good real stories, of behind the stage, and a lot of.
I remember looking forward to it. I said, okay, this is like a slow, but let's pick up the pace, guys. Let's pick it up. But they, it got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled. And that's what pissed me off too. Is like what show were you talking about, Jack? The one with
Outer Range.
Outer Range, yeah, that bothered me because I liked Outer Range. The second season was not as good as the first, but it's because it was like a lot of shows. It was getting more into that kind of out there kind of territory.
Well, I never watched, and then when you told me it got canceled, I said, "All right, I'm not going to watch it."
Yeah, that can kind of sometimes kill.
I think a lot of the problems with these shows, though, too, is it takes too long for them to come back.
Yeah,
right.
It's like that upload show. How was it? What, 2 years? It took for that thing to come. It's like, okay. I mean, I know there's a lot of television to watch. You have to, but it's like,
right.
Okay, I hate when I forget the show. I go, okay, I got to try to remember what happens.
I was trying to remember a show that you've told me about multiple times. It has like numbers in the name, and then you start looking up 404. Okay,
upload.
You start looking up things like 411. Was it 114? And you're surprised at how many things actually have number titles, and you're like, wow, it's a lot of number.
It's on the cock. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, well, I know we're rambling here, but I was kind of like looking for a show. I'm in that kind of weird phase where you're like, I'm not in a binge, but I'm kind of watching a couple different things.
You ever see Boardwalk Empire?
I have. I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
The guy that plays Capone is in that show.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but
and the guy that was in Franklin, the doctor that was his friend, the traitor, he is in the show.
Yeah.
I don't know their names, but they're both in the show.
Boardwalk Empire is one of those shows that I think will be forgotten, and in like another 5 years or so, all of a sudden they'll get rediscovered again. People are like, oh my God, like how did I? Because like no one talks about it anymore.
Sure.
And it's not like it's not a classic, and it's not like one of those that you gotta watch it, but it's a solid like 8.3, 8.4 overall. Like it's a show that you're not gonna say that sucked, but I like Boardwalk. There's parts in it that are so damn good. Yeah, and then
Steve Buscemi is excellent in it.
Yeah.
Well, he's
generally just
4 or 5
really solid in almost everything that I've seen him in, and you hear him talk and interviewed, and he was a firefighter, and he has a really 9/11, interesting right? 9/11. He helped out and was so people were like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I was a firefighter, I'm here to help. So
right.
But the show that I wanted to say that I stumbled across was it's called Detroiters. So Detroit with an ER at the end. I know, never heard of this show. I was on Paramount, and I'm just kind of bumming around, and I was like, oh, I recognize these people that are in it. It's kind of a buddy show with two characters. One actor, Tom Robinson, which has just got one of those faces that you could almost kind of, but you've seen him. You've seen him in stuff. What's
punchable
up?
Face? A punchable face?
No, he doesn't have a punchable face. Okay, he actually has one of those memeable faces because he's been in a lot Yeah, here, let me share my screen with you so that you can kind of see who I'm talking about. But he is one of the main characters from.
Oh yeah.
I've
So-
seen him. He's the guy. He's the guy that says, "I didn't do shit."
Mhm, Yep. So
I
he
mean,
is,
can I be honest? He does have a
Right.
punchable face.
He does.
okay.
I mean, I take a swing. I take a swing at him.
I think you were already reaching for someone to punch. So I think you were, it just shoved you. So
You never know.
the other actor that is with him is Sam Richardson. You've seen him on Veep.
Oh yeah, Veep, yeah,
Mhm.
and other
Yep.
shows. Yeah, he was
These-
hilarious in Veep.
These two guys these two guys are hilarious on the show, Detroiters. I think it's a show that
Detroiters.
Detroiters. I'll bring it up on my other screen.
What's it on?
It's on Paramount. So
Paramount.
if you don't have,
I have Paramount.
if
And
you
no
have the mount,
and no commercials. I have the mount. I don't have the. We still have the cock, but I can mount the cock.
it's got some absurd humor, which is what it made me laugh out loud on several episodes. Some of the episodes are going to go in directions where you're like, I don't know if I was ready for this, but you'll find yourself laughing at some random stuff that they say. It was only on for 2 seasons. It was on Comedy Central.
It's already. This is not new.
It's I mean, this was out in 2017, 2000.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Again, I was kind of just sifting through, and I was like, oh, let's just jump into and the pilot kind of got me. So but it's also kind of one of those shows that it's like, well, there's only 2 seasons, and it's got these 2 actors that I really like them in other things, and it's hilarious. I mean, it's got some very adult humor kind of moments and directions that it takes. The Sam's character, he eventually, like, there's a classic scene where the guy's kind of at a bar, and there's another good looking woman there, and they go back, and you think, oh, maybe she's a prostitute, but no, she leaves money for him, and then he's thinking he's hot shit, so he gets like this fancy suit, and he's just kind of dancing around. But then, of course, this all will eventually blow up in his face, as most sitcom situations do. But it's worth a watch. I think it's got a really fun cast, and I don't know, it was a surprise gem as I was kind of looking for stuff to watch. So
going back to what Jack was talking about, like shows taking too long.
Wait, it's Code 404.
Code 404. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? Because I use IMDb so much, I'm just gonna put it on my list there, because I go to my, I love the trivia section. And I love, of course, looking up, what has this actor been in? It's just like,
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Probably one of my most used apps on my phone, honestly.
When I watch an old TV show or an old movie, and I go, wonder if this kid ever did anything.
Right.
So I'll go back and look at the whole cast, and just, wow, they did that. Oh, they married them. Ooh.
My kids.
It's useless information, but
my kids do that too.
Yeah, like sometimes you forget. There's tons of times where an actor was in a sitcom, like it's just a guest, like it's random, like office worker or whatnot, and then they have a hit show 10 years later, and then you look them up, and then it's like, they were in that show, and then you look them up, and they're like, oh yeah, 2 episodes of that. You're like, holy shit, there they are.
I was watching a show, and this, I couldn't tell you her name. She was in Grey's Anatomy. She was the lead actress's mom in the show. She had Alzheimer's and stuff like that. She was in Scandal, all this different stuff. I looked up, I go, oh, she's Richard Burton's daughter. I never would have known that. So I'm like going, wow. I mean, again, kids playing at home don't know who Richard Burton is. They who's that dick? But anyway, there's just,
that's what
you get down a rabbit hole sometimes. It's like, I gotta look up this.
We talked about that though too, like where I was gonna say Nepo Baby as well. It's like.
By the way, Sherry, not to ignore what you said, but Sherry in the chat says the extras for The Sixth Sense is amazing. The director talks about them implementing the color red whenever there's a scene that shows that he's dead. He thought they were giving too much away. So
red is in like Star Trek.
I think she was just chiming in on that idea of like all of the extras that used to come with these. But yes, Red is in Star Trek, and our
Death, Star Trek, Red.
Right. But that's what blows my mind about how people know certain actors, depending on what their generation is. Alex, that's more right. Yeah.
Nick's like, okay, geez, something's been wrong, and
it's been wrong. It's been throwing me off the whole time.
I got used to being on. I got used to being on the bottom like 10 minutes ago.
I forgot to turn on my lights.
Anyway, so it's like how many people I've known that are born in 1990 or past 1990 that know Alan Rickman from Harry Potter, and they're like, oh yeah, like that's Snape, and you're like, that's how you know Alan Rickman?
Yeah, but then they watch Die Hard and they're like, "Whoa, that's Snape!"
Like whoa, exactly. And they will say that like,
and it's a Christmas movie.
Like what? It just blows my mind. But going back to what Jack was saying earlier about shows that take too long to come back. So 2 or 3 years ago, HBO had a show called Tokyo Vice, and it's about an American I think he's American, that moves to Tokyo. Wants to be in the press, Tokyo press. It's kind of a fish out of water story.
I've seen it on Max a couple times and been very curious about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's actually a good show. But the thing is, season 2 came out, I think, maybe a month ago or 2 months ago. And it's one of those where I've completely forgotten what season 1 was about. And it's like, I don't want to watch it now because it's like, I don't remember. And I don't want to get invested in another show that, if it's going to take another 2 or 3 years for another season to come out, and by then it'd probably be canceled. And you're just like,
it's frustrating because, it's just, I get these actors have a lot of British shows do that. Well, it takes, Luther did that. And I haven't seen the final season of Luther.
Or if you have, kid actors, you do
that's
have
my Luther impression.
You have a shelf life on the show itself. So, I don't know. Many of you probably haven't seen this, but my family, we've watched Home Economics. It's got Topher Grace, and it's kind of a interesting, like sibling kind of story with 3 siblings and their kind of families.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was on for like I think 3 seasons. I mean, it didn't survive COVID, because I think COVID took out like a lot of shows where it was just like. Well, we can't keep this going. And by the time we come back, these kids are now in college, so.
Well, it could be like Stranger Things.
Things is like, I think people are, even though Stranger Things is excellent, it's one of those shows I think most people are just kind of like lost interest in it because it's taken so long and the kids are all in their early 20s now. And it's like, they're not even kids anymore.
Well, I feel like they should have, and I don't know, maybe they will do it in the show, but I feel like they're still keeping with this 1980s theme. They have to, right? You can't go out of the 80s.
I think they have to go to the 80s.
It would have, I want to say that wasn't the early idea was that they were just going to do the first season as kids and then the second season was going to be as adults. It almost feels like they could have just gotten to that point, now it's like just make them adults.
I can't see 11 marrying what's his name. I just can't. I just can't see it.
I don't see her making it through the show really though. I think that she'll end up
eventually move on.
I think she'll die.
Well, I saw something on I don't know
is it coming out?
It should be out soon, yeah.
Well, I saw something on Instagram. They're looking for extras for a Stranger Thing. I don't know if it was a joke or not. I just kind of skimmed by it, but I'm like going, huh.
I saw a thing, I think an email I got saying pretty soon they're going to have announcements for everything Netflix, and Stranger Things was one of them on the list.
I mean, I'll watch it, but
I'll watch it.
It's been at least, 3 years?
Well, I felt that this last season, even though it was better than the second season, and aren't we on? I think they've done 3 or 4. I can't remember. But
well, because they had that kid who was really good, but then they allegedly may have killed off. Yeah. I'm not going to spoil anyone.
Well, I felt that this past season, which was the 4th season, I felt that if they don't introduce a bigger power than what was introduced in the 4th season, then how are you going to make that stretch? Because they revealed so much in the 4th season of like who this person was. It's like, okay, well, there needs to still be something because you can't just have a whole season because there's no mystery around it now.
Well, you're also getting the point where these kids aren't kids anymore, and
Right.
are we going to find them interesting as adults?
Right.
Because that happens a lot where, kids, I mean, I'm not saying they're not good actors. I'm
Right.
saying
I mean,
I love them.
No.
I love them when they're younger. Now it's like, you're just.
Well, that's what I was saying when Matt said that. It's like it's with him saying it should remain in the 80s, or when they were kids. It's like because it was clearly inspired by it, and that's the problem with it Part 2. Always is that it's cool when they're kids because kids are it's all unknown to them and they're afraid because that's just natural state. But as an adult, it's just not the same. It doesn't hit as hard as it does.
Because their adventures are going. I mean, adventures, but we all had adventures when we were. We'd do stupid stuff. Go, oh, that house is haunted, or let's go down and do this. We always did things we weren't supposed to do.
Oh,
and I think that's what made Stranger Things fun because you're like, I remember doing that as a kid. Fighting off ghost and whatever it was.
Even things like Stand By Me, that's what makes Stand By Me good because it's that innocent time when you're a child. Yeah. To me, if I saw a dead body in the woods, I'd be like, oh shit, there's a dead body, but I wouldn't freak out about it. Like I probably
because probably you killed him.
Well, no, I figured just Dan was in the area.
No, it could be. That's true. Dan was in the area. I mean, seeing a dead body at a young age would have probably freaked me out. Now it's like, yeah, I've seen them all, but
saw a dead goat. I know, like growing up, like there was somebody kind of threw the goat down this kind of ditch ravine area, like kind of growing up where I was at. So riding my bike past it, I was like, oh, what's that? And it's like this dead goat down there. So I was like, someone
killed the goat?
I don't know exactly what, or if they were disposing of the goat down there by throwing it over there. I don't know. So it was.
Remember the days where a kid could go ride his bike anywhere and not be harassed?
I rode. Well, I lived out in the country, so there were country blocks. So just even going 2 country blocks.
That's a long way.
It could be 5 miles. You're just like. So and into the wind, of course, just to get the Twix
in the snow.
So I think I
used to ride my bike in the snow. It was like 8 feet of snow in San Diego. It was rough.
I feel like I've talked about it, but stop me if I have. But because I know I've told my kids like the only place that I could go to is this bar and grill, and in Ohio.
As a kid?
Yeah, I could go into the bar. So as a kid, and the bar was just right there. But I went there because I could get candy bars, and they had pinball games in the back.
Ooh.
So that
the old pinball games, not the
the old pinball games. I mean,
the ones that they weren't the electric. Click 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 click.
Somebody's trying to.
I'm not saying not the digital ones where it's all.
No. This was the 80s, man.
I know. I'm saying those were the pinball games I love. I hated when they went all electronic and stuff.
But here's the thing I will never forget about that small little bar and grill is they had a playpen right there in the front area as you walked in. I mean, it's basically like there's a screen door,
throw your kids in the pen, have you a drink.
And then there's a kid in the playpen there, and then there's like a bar right there, and then jukebox and pinball games, and so. But that was the only place you could go.
Right. It's the same as me. Like growing up, right?
Welcome to the show, Chris.
Good evening.
I had a little 4-wheeler when I got, I don't know, 10 or so, a little Honda, and it was still a good ways for me to go to like the nearest store. And it wasn't really a store. It was more like a little hut that you could get like basic supplies at. And, but it's kind of the same thing in that
guy behind the counter chewing tobacco.
Yeah, that's what it was. But it was one of those, like I said, going from a small area, everybody knows who you are and who your family is. So if I wanted to buy a sleeve of cigarettes or a carton of cigarettes for a sleeve of dips or a carton of cigarettes, if I wanted to buy something, I could, even at a young age.
Log of dip.
Yeah.
Was this hut? Was it owned by a gangster?
No. But it was. I could do whatever I want.
He was a redneck gangster.
It's just a different time.
Jack didn't realize, but he just laughed at a Star Wars reference.
Right.
Was
I don't know.
When you entered, was somebody like "Le Java no bother"?
We don't want them here.
Yeah.
Well, we don't serve their kind, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
in that too.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Which
universally.
is pretty robot racist.
That was on Tatooine. Well,
It was, but they were trying to, in a roundabout way, talk about droid rights. So,
mint chocolate tonight, maybe, perhaps.
It's upside down, backwards.
Oh, it was reversed.
Still reversed.
Flip it. No, it doesn't.
You can't just flip the box. I mean, his camera's reversed. That's the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
It says Heights. Jack never learned to read.
Yeah. Growing up in the city, I didn't have the luxury of, being.
I can smell it.
Even though when I grew up in San Diego, it wasn't as overcrowded as now.
All the sand.
We did have canyons and stuff to go mess around in.
That's good. That's a lot of fun.
Did people beg in the canyon?
Quarries?
There was no begging. Nobody begged.
It wasn't a beggar's canyon?
No, it wasn't. Not like back home.
He's not referencing any of the references. This is gold.
I said not like back home. Doesn't he say?
I got it, Jack.
Thank you, Nick, for backing me up on that one. But no, we did have to watch out for hippies who were smoking their doobies and everything else like that down in the canyons because they would try to throw things at you. But those are rough times.
They threw doobies.
The hippies were throwing shit.
No, they didn't throw the doobies, but they were down there.
I think all the socias were throwing shit at the hippies.
That's probably where Mark Hamill hung out.
I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my son and I watched the despecialized version.
Mm-hmm.
So started off with me watching the VHS version, and then I was like, wait a second, I got the Blu-rays of this. Right. Let's pop this on.
Of what?
Of Star Wars. So
Star Wars. Okay.
So like Lucas has said, Jack, that
I should have known.
Yeah. George Lucas and Lucasfilm have said they'll never release the original cuts of the movies because he considers to be all of his changes to be the master version. That's it. So I don't know what 6-7 years ago, Chris. I think you were the first one to buy this. Yeah. You can get it. It's a bootleg, but it's on Blu-ray and DVD, and it's called the Despecialized Star Wars. So it's the original cuts of the film. Okay. And
but it's just upgraded in a way. It's upgraded and clarified in a way so that it's not.
So it's the actual. Like New Hope, but with scenes that original scenes. Okay.
So just Sandcrawler just looks like a shitty toy going across the screen, But and Chris, I think, went and got it to show you the cut.
I was looking for it. I don't know where the hell I put it.
Oh, okay.
Probably next to Dot.
Actually, John, I went and checked it out.
Oh, do you want to talk about your adventures in San Diego?
In a minute, you can finish your thing. But as funny as I was watching Bridge on the River Kwai. And who's in it?
Alec Guinness.
And it's funny is sometimes you can hear him.
Oh yeah,
you're talking about kids today, and they say, they go, wait, he was an actor before he was Obi-Wan,
right,
and he was a great actor before that. But it's a long movie. But if you haven't seen Bridge on the River Kwai, it's.
There's interviews of him out there, because Star Wars to him. At that time, it was just going to be one film, and he probably thought it was a little bit beneath him as an actor, being a proper British actor. But he liked the idea of playing like a Gandalf type character, which I don't think he actually says Gandalf in the interview. But he wanted to play this wise, mentor type role. He enjoyed that thought of that, and of course he didn't want to come back for the sequels.
He was like, "Damn it, Peter Cushing! I should have taken your role."
Yeah. And he even talked about how he didn't like. I think he warmed to it towards the end of his life, but he didn't like people going, "Oh, it's Obi-Wan." He really didn't like that.
Well, to be fair, I mean, again, he had a really great career, and
right.
Remember, I mean, again, I get it, but I was like, if I remember, I know a lot of actors who just say, "Hey, as long as they remember me, I'm happy." But some actors don't like, it's like it used to be taboo to go on TV or something like that. Now it's right. Now it's like, okay, we're cool.
He found it. There it is, the despecialized
Oh,
Star Wars trilogy.
Nice.
He's still backwards.
So,
Anyway,
and one of the things that's great about it, though, I just have to say, and most people you can kind of find them on eBay. They're like bootlegs, basically.
Yeah,
but you'll find people. You'll
It's in
find people
720p.
Was it only
but
720?
The
really,
I mean, it's better than 480, but yeah,
I thought 120, 121, but
whatever it takes.
the quality that we have, the black, the matte lines, basically for the space sequences, you don't see those. They're not there, which is just kind of one of those things. Like when you watch the old ones and you're looking, you're like, you can kind of see how it's like kind of cut out around it. And it's like kind of,
which along the same lines of like the bootleg versions of these, like remastered, whatever. I sent you guys a text, I think last week, I think it was. I sent you a TikTok. Apparently it's been around for a long time, but somebody recut Lost.
Oh.
In chronological order.
Oh, I did see that. Yes.
So it's like split screens for a lot of the stuff like that's happening like on one side of the island. Well, like the others are doing their thing, and it's but the whole thing has been redone in a chronological order, which I think is really, really fucking cool.
Yeah,
but it's only available via like torrent streams and stuff.
Yeah, isn't how many hours is it?
It's illegal, yeah. So.
That's illegal. A lot. It's every episode.
These them bots.
So it's every episode, really, Jack. They just cut it in put it in the order.
It's like one of the earliest ones. Has to be the.
I'm on the 36-hour. Can make it.
I would be interested in that because I when people always asked about the last season, people didn't watch the show. We're like, oh, they were dead the whole time, and I was like, look, to me, the finale is excellent. I was like. The season is what the problem is. I was like, because it doesn't really introduce Man in Black or Jacob until that last season, and then it kind of negates the first 5 seasons in a way, not totally, but in a way. But if you do it chronologically, you introduce these characters way early, so that way you can see it like what they're there for, and then tie into the other.
It's similar impact as the machete order, right? Of Star Wars.
Yeah. Right.
So you're saying they wait. So you're on the crowd that says they waited too long to show across the sea.
They waited too long to figure out what the fuck they were doing.
Right.
Is the real answer. But I'm happy they got that. Anyways.
I mean, we mentioned this last week because I mentioned that I was watching the Transformers movies, and there's so many different ones. But if you actually watch that, if you ever want to do a watch of those, and why would you? Because the Michael Bay ones are shit. They progressive.
Whoa.
First
I
one's
like
pretty,
the Michael Bay ones.
The first one's pretty good. I like
the first one is outstanding.
Okay, this is where I'm going to be.
That car scene where the car's not working right, and the girl's trying to fix it.
He finds him in the alley. He's like,
"Sure,
wiki."
Well, we talked about this.
I'm looking for the Allspark.
Right. So if you watch them in chronological order, you would start with the movie Bumblebee and the most recent Rise of the.
I forgot about
the
Bumblebee.
Beasts.
Bumblebee's good. Yeah.
Bumblebee's good.
I like.
I liked that one, and it's probably the only one that my daughter would tolerate. So if you're ever looking for one to watch,
I think Bumblebee and the first Michael Bay.
The first one,
really great.
it's. I just don't understand why they're so sweaty. They
are, but
it's humid.
It's hot. It's before air conditioning.
I think the first one does the best job of weaving together multiple storylines, and the second one he loses the thread, and there's a definite
hot girl
in the last
puts the
one.
tongue out.
It's just
I don't even remember the second one.
The second one is
I know
it's so bad.
Got the racist twin robots.
It's so bad that it's not on any streaming.
Twin robot.
Yeah,
I know I saw it because I like the first
weird.
one. I don't.
The second one is so bad it's not even on.
What's
Paramount.
his name's not in it, right?
By the way, you can stream all of these on Paramount if you're.
Is he in it? Is he?
LaBeouf? I don't think he is. No.
No, Shia LaBeouf is in 3 of them.
Yeah,
so you can kind of and then Mark Wahlberg is in the next 2.
Okay, I didn't see the one with.
Right. I haven't seen the Mark Wahlberg.
I saw the
if
one
you
Mark
watch
Wahlberg.
it, the machete order is chronological.
I don't know.
Start with Bumblebee.
Do they have commercials in it?
On what?
on anything like this show.
Jeez. Hint.
Nice job.
Way to be the producer.
Now
You know?
I can be that guy.
You could be that guy.
We talked about Transformers years ago because I remember Chris and I were talking about, at least I remember what I said anyhow, that the first time I heard Optimus's voice in the theater, that was the first time I had heard his voice in
Since
probably
His first time you
12 or
came,
14
right?
years. Well, it just brought back a lot of. Dude.
I
actually, all the juices and everywhere came out.
Yeah, I equate that
sweat,
scene, Nick.
Pus,
I think
tears,
if I recall
blood.
our conversation that we did have, I think I hold that scene of like when he rolls up on Optimus in the alley and you hear Peter Weller's voice for the first time.
Oh, is that whose voice it is?
Yeah, and I think the first thing it reminded me of was that when you first see Yoda, ignite his lightsaber against Count Dooku, and then starts flying all over the place like a fucking like a hopped up rabbit on steroids. like that initial feeling the first time I saw that is like those are two really iconic moments in a movie theater for me that I remember. I'll never forget that moment. I think it was awesome. I loved that
like
movie.
Pee Wee Herman.
Well,
in a movie, watching a movie.
Yeah, he's like just the first. Like I said, I hadn't heard that voice, and it was just like a childhood something. My heart grew a little bit larger.
Yeah,
like it was just like,
Oh, come on, Nick, your heart's never grown.
It's true, but so you guys don't know this, or maybe I did. I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you guys or not. So when we'll go to Jack's San Diego experience as well as mine. So when Jay and Colleen get to San Diego, they're Eastern time where I'm, so it's a 3-hour difference. The kids are already ready for bed, but it's only like 6:30, and so Colleen's looking at me and goes, "We need to kill at least an hour, okay? Like before we put these kids to bed." And I was like, "Okay." So we're walking through the gas lamp, and then Jay spots this, or maybe Colleen spots it, this art gallery in the gas lamp, and she's like, "Let's go in there." And I was like, "Okay," and I did this to Matt. Yeah, but anyway, so we're walking through it, and in the very back, there's a lot of Dr. Seuss artwork.
Oh, really?
And it was really cool. And
because he lived in San Diego.
Okay, but they're one of 3 galleries that has.
You don't know.
He lives in
He did. I swear.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He was in Massachusetts.
He has a house. He has a house in San Diego. I've seen it.
Doesn't everybody have a house in San
In La Jolla? I'm sorry, La Jolla, which is technically San Diego.
La Jolla? Nice.
La Jolla.
I think anybody that's ever done home repair thinks that Dr. Seuss built the house.
They didn't build. No, he didn't build it. He lived there.
He's from Springfield, Massachusetts.
I'm telling you, he had a house in San
Homeowner
Diego. It's by UCSD College.
Are you sure it wasn't Dr. Suez?
No,
He
he probably lived there too. I don't know.
also had a canal.
Yeah, he did.
Go ahead, Nick.
His own canal.
So anyway, so there was a lot of really neat artwork, so it was just sketches, he did original characters. Some of it was actual stills from the cartoons. They had lots of different things in there that were Dr. Seuss, but there was one thing that really grabbed my eye, and it was this picture. It was his first drawing that he did of the Grinch That Stole Christmas, and it's a pencil drawing.
Oh.
And we were all going to walk out, and I kind of went back. I was like, I really like this, looking at Jay. And he goes, I do too, because I think of everything in here, that's the one thing I would get. I was like, yeah, me too. And so I've already forgot where I was going to go with this story.
Did you buy it?
I did buy it. Yeah.
Nice.
It's not going to be in for like another 3 or 4 weeks, but it's like, it was a limited. Yeah. But I was like, oh, I really like it. So I got it. And whatever the fuck we were talking about before that.
It doesn't matter.
You're talking.
Oh, that's it. Because Jack said my heart never grew. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh, so it grew.
So the woman that was running the gallery, or at least the employee at the time that was there, did not have my sense of humor whatsoever. And
so she had no sense of humor.
She had no sense of humor. Yes. So Jay and I are standing there looking at it, and she proceeds to kind of go, "Oh, so this is blah 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 blah," and then she goes, and a lot of people have the misconception of the Grinch because people think that he hated Christmas, but he didn't really hate Christmas. And then she goes into this whole story, which is actually the true story of Grinch. And I look at her and I go, "Oh, so that's how you interpret that story." And she goes, You can just see the confusion on her face. I was like, how do you think of that story? I was like, he hated people. I was like, that's what it was. I was like, think about it. You got your own little private villa on top of the mountain. You got these assholes down there just singing and dancing all day long. You just want a peace and quiet. Shut the fuck up and let me live my life. And she just looks at me like, this guy's messed up.
This guy's a dick.
Yeah. And then
I just need to get him to buy this and get him the fuck out of here.
Right. And then later, after I get it, me and Jay are standing at the counter, and she goes, so do you have any idea where you're going to put it in their house? And I went, yeah, I know exactly where I'm going to put it, above my bed. And she just, what? And I was like, well, I figure if any of the ladies are walking in, they should know what they're going to expect, have the expectations set. And she just thinks I'm crazy.
She's actually on her own. She's on her own art podcast right now, like talking shit about you.
Right.
Some hick from Tennessee.
So I did tell Matt though the story. So before I bought it, but while I was still looking around, there was another original piece. There's an oil painting of this, like a classic guitarist playing, and I really liked it. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy this, And I looked down at because it was on the lower part of the wall, and it was $10,000. And I looked at.
Did you get it?
No, you think I got $10,000 to blow on a painting?
I think you're rich, man. I think you're rich.
So anyway, so I looked down. As soon as I see 10,000, I could just feel it coming out of me. I went 10,000. And I can almost buy my own shit
out of here. Oh no.
But anyway, that was a good memory.
So dovetailing off of your artwork adventure.
Yep.
So I was flipping through TikTok the other day, and I came across someone posted like a reel of this dude's artwork that I was like, man, I fucking it's caught my eye. I got really, really dig this shit. And the artist, his name is Scott C. I don't know if I know his full name. And I started like going down this rabbit hole of his artwork, and he was at Comic-Con, and part of me was like, man, maybe I should text him to go to the art booth for me and pick up some shit. But I didn't end up doing it. But I did buy some artwork off of his website. So he's an artist that does a number of things. But if you want to check out his website, it's called it's thescottcshop.com. He does tons of cool little artwork. He actually did one of the bear cast, but it's in his own like really cool like I don't know, caricatures, if you will. I'll actually just share the screen right now so you guys can see it.
Oh, sure. Oh yeah,
might be
I was actually pulling it up on here.
Oh, there you go. So I bought so is this mine or is this yours?
Oh, wow.
I can't remember.
I just moved it over to yours.
Yeah, so this is like his caricatures of like the chef, right? Or I'm sorry, the bear rather, which I thought was kind of cool.
Why'd they cut her legs off?
Oh, I love.
I just really loved his style. Mm-hmm. And this one is the one I actually end up purchasing.
Is that it's a Speed Racer, right?
No, it's all the cars.
It's all the cars. So you
Speed
got
Racer, Batman.
Yep. You got Dumb and Dumber. You got Speed Racer. You got Back to the Future. Batman.
What's the one under Batman?
Which
there's two Batman.
This one right here?
No, the one. Isn't that the Batmobile?
Oh yeah, so he's looking at there's 3 Batmobiles.
There's the Tumbler, the old school Batmobile, and like the Batman Begins.
Or 99.
Mobile.
Oh, that's Wayne's World. That's Wayne's World.
Okay.
The Pinto.
But I've been trying to find it. If I can maybe do a quick Scott C. Lost.
No, it's Pacer.
Is that Scott that listens to our show?
No, but he does like a lot of cool shit, and like there is one that he did for the Goonies, and I was like, man, I want that Goonies art, but I can't find it anywhere because it was a print that he made like back in like I don't know however long ago, but I saw this one and I was like, man, I gotta find that piece of artwork. It was just really cool, like drawing of like different movies and TV shows and such, but yeah, so I went on like this rabbit hole, this dude's artwork, and I ended up buying the vehicle one, which I thought was pretty rad. So, but again, that one's gonna, just like you mentioned, Nick, that's gonna take probably a few weeks for me to get. Here's the Beatles, the Beatles.
Nice. I like
how their legs so
socks off, shoes off.
So just really, really cool stuff. But yeah, give it a shot. Give it a look if you're interested. But yeah, Scott C. Good stuff.
It's just Scott with a C in the C.
Yep.
It's just funny. Like that made me think of that. Is it Ted 1 or Ted 2? You know, where she's like, you know, they're the actress hasn't seen Rocky. They're giving her shit, like not seeing all these movies. And she goes, "Do you even know who wrote the Great Gatsby?" And they're like, "No." And they're just like, "It's F. Scott Fitzgerald." And they're like, "Whoa, like, what the fuck did he do to you to say fuck F. Scott Fitzgerald?" You know? And like,
I got a picture of his home in the background there, if you can see it.
Oh, I like the new backdrop there.
Yeah, it's a little better than the bricks.
looks like he needs.
Well,
this
I mean, the
roof
bricks are, you know,
It's not a bad view he has there.
No.
That's the
sorry,
house that
hat.
ABC's built. So, Jack, what happened on your San Diego journey?
Quite a, of course, we had Comic-Con, and I visited. Well, we had our panel on Thursday, and that was okay. It was a good turnout. Probably a better turnout than maybe last year. Talked a lot about. Ralph was there. We talked a lot about the documentary. Joe was there. Talked a lot about the documentary. And there were some lost questions and stuff. It wasn't
Maybe
bad.
because of the anniversary coming up too. Maybe more people.
Yeah,
That could be it.
The best things always about those panels now, you know, or the people who have just now discovered Lost, and they've never had the outlet to ask questions. They've been pent up, and so those are what's exciting about y'all's panels now.
Well, we really didn't get into that because it was a lot of again, the documentary and other stuff. There was one father there that had got his son watching Lost. He was on season 4, and he had some questions and stuff like that. But it was pretty good. But my most exciting thing I think I saw at Comic-Con, you got a lot of people dressed up in costumes and stuff like that. Cindy and I are walking back. I think we were walking back from the panel, and I look over and there's this guy. He's got some headdress on or something like that, but he's wearing a green, I don't know what to call it, a wrap or something like that. It was like, had a long slit in it. It was just like kind of float. It was windy, kind of blowing around. And I look and I go, he's not wearing anything under that thing. Because you can literally see everything. You can see his dick, his balls, the whole kit and caboodle.
Was he an artist? Was he selling artwork?
As in, like, he was fully exposed, or you could just see the bulge?
Oh, you could see fully. The thing blew open, and I'm like going. I said, "Wait, was that fake? Maybe?" I go, "Nope, that's the real thing." So I turned to Cindy. She goes, "Yep, I saw it too." I go, "All right, what the fuck is this guy doing?"
This is outside of the convention center.
This is out. He's walking. We're walking past the convention center. It's like just past the Marriott Hotel. He's going towards Comic-Con. I'm leaving towards going back to the hotel, and I go, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" There's kids, lots of kids.
Did you invite him to your panel?
I thought about it, but our panel was already over. But eventually I think security's going to have to stop him, because I got stopped because I was trying to get to another part of the floor, and I went out without scanning my badge. And so I turned around and came right back in, and they go, hold on, you've been red flagged. I go, red flagged? I go, whatever. And they go, oh, because I walked out without. I go, but I was just right there. I wanted to go there, but she said I couldn't go there. I had to walk out and come back in. Anyway, I didn't spend too much time at Comic-Con. I didn't spend a lot of time at Comic-Con because it was just too crowded, and I didn't do any of the panels.
Would you say it's more crowded than ever before?
No, it was. I think it was. I thought it was less crowded.
It's been less crowded like the last before COVID, and after it's been less.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there, but there weren't. I mean, especially on Thursday, you could walk down the street without there being that congestion when you're going. We're 50 million people, and nobody's. You should have people on the right, people on the left, but everybody's walking in 15 different directions. But no, that was fun. But I think the best time I had is my son-in-law got me a pack of edibles, and so I took it back to the hotel with me, and I debated taking it or not. And I said,
take a shower.
Well, I took it. I took the edible, but I didn't eat the whole thing. It was a big one, so I just took a bite out of it. Well, I should have read it because
What was the milligrams?
I don't know, because you're supposed. I was supposed to. You're supposed to slice it into 10 slices.
Oh shit!
What? How big of a wedge was this thing?
It was big, and so I took.
If you have to slice it into 10.
My son-in-law said no. You're supposed to, because I was upset with him. So I sliced. I didn't slice it, so I basically took 4 instead of 1. So I'm laying in bed.
So a minimum of 20.
Probably. And I'm trying to finish the bridge on the River Kwai, and also I'm like going, okay, I'm starting to get paranoid again.
The song is like really coming into my head now.
I go, so now I'm just freaking out. I'm losing it. I think I'm gonna die. At one point,
were you in the bridge over River Kwai?
No, but I was but I didn't want to go to sleep because I was afraid I was going to die in my sleep. So I get really paranoid. Like anything I thought of, okay, I'm having a heart attack. Suddenly my chest hurt. At one point I said, I wanted to get up and go to the bathroom. I go, I can't walk this way. I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. I'm like this. And then I'm trying to wave to Cindy, who's snoring over there. And I'm like going, I couldn't talk. I'm trying to.
You had like some sleep paralysis mixed with like.
Oh, it was worse than the other one. Then I'm watching Modern. So
what time of day was it when you ate this gummy?
It was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, you ate it at 1 a.m.?
Yes.
Whoa. Flag on the play.
Fuck.
Flag on the play.
Yeah.
Why did you take it at 1 a.m.?
Because I wasn't tired yet. I said, okay, I'm just gonna take it now. And
so you were fucked up the next day.
Oh, I was because I said I had to stay awake until it wore off. So I was watching.
So if there's next time that happens to you, Jack, just realize that no one in history has ever died from marijuana use.
Yeah, that's great. That's great you say that, but I'm extremely paranoid when that happens. I mean,
I'm gonna be the first one.
At one point, I'm watching Modern Family, and I go, why are they so angry with each other? And I go, why are they yelling? It was like a completely different show. There was no comedy. I thought, is this a drama episode that I missed?
Whoa.
And
Let's
then
be cool.
And so then I'm looking over at the corner of the bed, and I see Chucky. I don't know where this came from. I go.
Did you eat mushrooms, Jack, or did you eat?
It said edible.
If it's a chocolate.
Okay. Your son-in-law did you dirty because for one.
Well, I did.
He should have given you fair warning, or maybe he thought you could read.
Was he
he
just?
He goes, you can read it. I go, no. He found it was one was
found it on the street.
One was for body pain, and one was for the mine or something like that. Well, he got me the mine one and not the thing, and I'm just.
He got you the top of the mushroom instead of the stem.
Yeah, and I go. What the fuck is Chucky doing here? But I couldn't talk, so I'm punching Chucky to get him out.
Wait, you were seeing things?
I was seeing Chucky. I was seeing.
You did not have. That was not a regular edible.
Yeah, so I'm seeing things, and I'm watching TV. Then I watched the podcast from last week. I'm watching that. I found that interesting.
Glad we can entertain you, Jack.
Yeah, and I'm like going, because I didn't want to go to sleep because I'm gonna die if I go to sleep.
Wow, they're really trashing on me.
Yeah, I go. The love I'm feeling from this podcast is amazing. And so I go, well, maybe I'm just thinking like I was watching Modern Family, and it's a comedy, and that maybe they're just I'm just thinking they're being dicks to me, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. And I was like, and I think I finally at about 4:30 things started calming down where I can go to sleep. But I was like, I'm falling off this bed. But I was in the middle of the bed.
I want one of these gummies.
I feel
I don't. In fact, we didn't. And Cindy goes, you want to go get some? I go, no, I don't want to do them anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Because I was so fucked up.
For one, it sounds like you took a sativa at 1 a.m., which I never recommend doing.
Yeah, don't do that.
So there's two types of strains for people that don't know. There's sativa and there's indica. If you want to be hybrid. There's hybrid. Yes, there's hybrid. And there's different variations of people that do different. And there's even within that, those two, there's the cannabinoids.
CBG, CBD,
There's so many
THCA,
different.
TH9.
I just like to
can't
get little.
even-
The ones I took in Alaska, and I can't find them. It was like it just mellowed me out.
But
I relaxed, and there was none of this mind shit. That was just
sure. If you're like me, and I'm like, oh, I would like to take some to make some art. I'm kind of more of a sativa person in that way.
These are some of my favorite.
But
So-
if you're like, hey, I just want to sit back and like melt into my body and fall asleep, then you want to be more indica. And
Okay,
then, of
because
course,
I don't know what, because he asked me, he goes, well, now that you know what it was, do you want it? I said, no, I don't want anything to do with that. Because
Jack says no to drugs.
I said no to drugs because I don't like the not being in control, and then my mind just goes and it just.
It's funny too because
You
Dr.
got your
Seuss'
fight.
home
You
right
can't
behind you.
fight it, Jack. You just got to go with it.
But
Yeah,
I have a
you
pretty
gotta-
vivid imagination, so it just enhances it. And I'm like, I'm like the Bridge and River Choir. I'm like going, I'm watching this and I'm watching that, and of course the podcast, and I'm just like going, okay,
These guys are out to get me.
Jack, once you have a better and more consistent access, hopefully someday the state of North Carolina will pass a marijuana bill. I doubt it. But like there are so many, to Matt's point, there are so many different types of variations of the cannabinoids in there. So like,
well, I've had some.
These are 15 milligram pieces, right? But they're 15 milligrams, which are broken up between 5 milligrams of CBG, 5 milligrams of CBD, and 5 milligrams of THC in each piece. So for me, it's like the perfect combination of what you're asking for, of just being able to like
Yeah,
chill.
I just want something that takes away the pain at the back and everything else I got going on, and just kind of mellow me out. And again, what I bought in Alaska, they were like caramel type things, and you chew them, and it was like I'd relax.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can put them into anything. It's just the whatever.
Whatever it was, there was no, because
that's where you got to know what you're taking.
You got to experiment.
You got to know your dose.
Well, I did experiment with it, and it was a mistake.
Don't take a chunk out of a piece that's supposed to be divided up 10 ways. Like
I just thought it was one. I thought it was one big chewy
bottle of tequila and being like, I'm never fucking doing drugs and alcohol again.
Well, I did that with tequila. So
well, you basically did the equivalent of that, except with.
So it was, and then the next day I was just dry.
I also have to say
I was out of it.
I also have to say that this is also, just word to the wise. Like if you're at a party or somebody's wanting to share something with you, you should know what you're in for, because one is going to make you more of a upper. One can make you more of a downer.
This is just 5 in this little tiny piece.
5 milligrams.
5 milligrams
is an ideal place.
And there's like a lot
start.
of them.
Exactly.
That doesn't do anything to me.
Well, it depends.
Like drinking half a beer.
I don't know how people do
Depends on what
LSD
type.
and mushroom. I don't know how people. I probably.
But it sounds
off a
like
building.
Jack did the equivalent of what, 50 milligrams.
I'm glad I didn't eat the whole thing.
If
Right.
it was
That
divisible by
would've been
10, you
100.
said divisible by 10, right? Like that you cut up a 10 ways.
It's supposed to be sliced in 10.
So it's probably a 50 milligram piece. You probably took a big bite out. You probably ate half of it.
I think it was 100. I think it was 100.
I don't know. It was pretty big bite.
Let's just say he took 40. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
but they typically don't typically market out like 10 milligram pieces. I wish they did.
Right.
If anything, they probably say, hey, if you cut this up 10 ways, it's 5 a piece, because that's typically the titration. So you actually go over the 1 or 2 doses.
I used to be able to get a 100 wedge that was supposed.
Yeah,
to
they don't do that anymore. I used to get those too, but like anywhere you go to like dispensaries, everything starts off at a base of like 5s.
Right. So that's another word to the wise too, like having individual, candies as opposed to like having to divide something up. So, and there are other things, like I have a reaction to CBD, like it can kind of mess up, like it doesn't relax my back. It actually like kind of makes it worse. So I try to stay away. I try to stay away from it. It's like if I have a reaction to something, and there are a lot of different cannabinoids out there in different types of gummies, even in states that don't have legal marijuana. They have different cannabinoids, and some of them work in some ways and some of them don't. So Just
I'll
know
tell you,
what you're putting in your
edibles
body.
have come a long, long way.
Yeah, but I
I
said,
remember I was in San Diego once.
Sorry, I'm not trying to dunk on your experience, Jack. We just want
no,
you to-
no, it
we
was a
want
bad
you-
experience.
I remember a friend of mine made Rice Krispie treats, homemade edibles, right? So they use like
Yep.
this is probably
Were
10,
they
15 years
talking
ago.
to you? I guess you have to put them in.
Dude, yeah. So I was at like this outdoor amphitheater outside of San Diego. I don't even know where the fuck I was.
Chula Vista.
Might have been. I don't know. I went and saw like The Offspring with 311
Nice.
at some outdoor amphitheater outside of San Diego.
Probably Chula
And
Vista.
we each had a piece of this like Rice Krispie treat tray that he made, and I had a corner piece. Well, don't take the corner piece on a homemade tray of edibles,
Right.
because
That's where
everything
they
seeps over to that corner.
Right.
And I was high for 3 days.
Wow.
That's what I was thinking. That like
It stayed with me for literally at least 2.5 days.
I was thinking like a king's cake. For anyone who doesn't know what a king's cake is, it's
I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. I figured you would. Maybe
figure it's a cake for a king.
No, okay. So it's a Louisiana Catholic kind of tradition, and basically it's you have these parties for Lent, and it's a cake, and they always put like a little baby Jesus in the cake when they make it, and whoever gets that has to throw the party the next
whoever
year.
chokes on the baby Jesus wins.
Yeah. And so I was thinking that when Chris was talking about the homemade, it's like, you know what, that would be my friends. It would be all like a weed thing, but one piece would have like a big chunk of acid in it or something. And then, you're like,
so it's like cake roulette.
Inagana DeVita just starts playing out of nowhere.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know it, if anyone that out there listening has never heard of King's Cake, it's actually a pretty fun tradition.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Especially when
Catholic
you
once.
shit out the baby. So you're like, oh.
Oh man, he's got that cross. Woo. Anyway.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, so that was interesting. That was that was, like I said, the next day. And the price, I don't know how people live out there. We first we get there, we get the rental car. There's my daughter, my son-in-law, and my 2 grandkids and Cindy. We go to Jack in the Box. And of course we didn't use the apps. If you use the app, it's a little cheaper, but it took forever. And I'm like going, are you guys seeing these prices?
Wow.
And they're not listening to me. So it was $57.
For 2 people?
No, for 4.
That's pretty good.
That's actually not that bad.
Not
by today's prices, that's pretty good.
I guess by today's prices, but I'm used to Jack in the Box being maybe $20-something.
Right.
And we got 2 Happy Meals were like $16 at McDonald's. I'm like going,
okay, boomer.
I said, I'm just saying, it just I don't know how these places.
Listen. My buddies didn't die dick down in Kuala Lumpur for no $16 fucking Happy Meal. You know what I mean?
It was 2 Happy Meals. But it just everything was just so expensive out there.
Yeah.
It's just
You could get a bucket of chicken for $20 and just the whole family could eat on that.
Actually,
nowadays.
it was cheaper than that when I was working.
You
there.
could get it for $5. That chicken
Let's
bucket.
get you some tacos, Jack.
Huh? I got the tacos. I got breakfast Jack, and I got a Coke. But it was like it took forever for the food, and what I felt bad is the people behind us ordered shakes, and they were sitting there the whole time. And I go, and you can see that it's starting to like. I go, those shakes are going to be shitty shakes by the time they get it. And then someone honked the horn. I'm like going, what do you want me to do? They got one guy working. They got one guy working here. What do you want me to do? He's making the food, waiting in the. He was waiting on the people inside Jack in the Box, and out and waiting on the drive-through. And there's one guy, I guess, cooking the food, or one person cooking the food.
He is the fucking Jack in the Box.
Yeah, I said, I go.
We're all waiting for the Jack.
And then we went to Disneyland, and I hated it.
I'm here for it.
They have. I said this last year. They have no shade. There's no shade.
Why gotta go in the morning? Like,
well, we went. We were there at 8:00.
Yeah.
Okay, it was nice until like 10:00.
Yeah.
And then the sun comes out, and people are like diving for patches of shade. They're like hovering over you. Go, are you leaving? Are you leaving? I go, not yet, because we had a shaded spot, and they wanted it.
Yeah.
They're getting in line for and Cindy was watching our youngest grandson, and they go, and Jay and the boys and Colleen didn't go, and my daughter and granddaughter and son-in-law. It's a small world. We didn't have the fast pass for that. It was an hour wait, and they go,
that.
They go, are you going to wait? I go, nope. you're going to mess out on the grandkids thing? I go, well, if I wait in the line in this heat, I'll be dead. So I won't be around. Seriously, I don't know how people were walking around in jeans, long sleeve shirts.
Nuts, I know.
I go, this has to be people from out of state that think Southern California is always cool.
Right.
But that sun, I go, it's ridiculous.
I don't understand the jeans and the black shirt in the middle. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I don't.
What are you going sledding?
I mean, it was literally like every other person was wearing jeans, and I go,
it's not cool, man.
And one guy walked by, and unfortunately, he was really heavy. Really, you could just see that he was just dripping.
He lost 4 pounds walking to you.
I think he did. It was so. Yeah, take a lightweight umbrella. I mean, it just they should. This place makes bill. We spent about $800 total with the tickets and everything else for one day. Getting in there, parking is $30. You can't tell me they can't put some awnings or something over these lines.
You know how much money they made out of selling water?
I know that's the thing. It's water's 5, 9, 10. At every exit at the line, you have the toy shops. But also you have the, people. I go, this is ridiculous. Disneyland should be ashamed. This is not the happiest place on earth.
No,
I'm hot. I'm miserable. I'm cranky.
Well, I mean, like I went 2 years ago, if you guys remember, and my friend was with Cliff and Jana, and then my friend that lives in she's originally from Orange County. She has the year pass, and she knows how to do that whole park, like the whole thing, every ride in a day. And she was very like, before we even showed up, she's like, okay, get to this lot at this time. We're meeting at this spot exactly. We'll do the whole damn thing, because she knew how to do it to where you're doing all the outside stuff before the marine haze goes away, and then all the indoor stuff you do that in the afternoon while everyone else is cooking. And it's like she does it like goes every month, and so she knew she knew how to get in all the canteen, all the Star Wars stuff, like how to do it all, like when to get in line, like how to get your name on the reservation to get in the cantina. Like it was like, this is
the problem is you have the fast pass or whatever they change it, whatever it's called now. Genie Pass. You really don't have it as I think it was called the Lightning Lane, or
it's Lightning.
Yeah,
whatever it is. But they had sometimes the next available thing is an outdoor one, so you don't have a choice if you're using that. You have, and if the lines are an hour long, I'm going to take the 20-minute wait over the hour wait. But I told afterward, I said, I'm not going in the summer again. I will not do it. It's too hot.
Yeah,
it's too hot. Yeah.
It's too hot. It's uncomfortable. I'm old. I can't take I'll be honest, I'm getting old. I can't take the heat anymore.
Yeah,
I used to go out and do yard work when I first moved here without a problem. Now it's like, oh, fuck, it's hot. And today was really hot. I don't know, because I'm not used to it. I mean, where we stayed in Santee in East County before we went to the hotel, it was in the 90s, but it's not the same kind of. It's a dry heat.
The Earth is breaking some temperature records here, so it's not just you. So
that was Disneyland, and then there's something else I was going to say, but I can't remember off the top of my. We did the On Amazing Race. My brother-in-law does the On Amazing Race.
Yeah, I was curious who won. Colleen had a theory. Go ahead.
Okay, well, they didn't win.
Oh.
And I don't know what Colleen said, but I'm going to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
We all know Jay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things was you had to do your partner. You had to know 5 things. It was like the Newlywed Game type thing. We had to know. They gave 5 questions. You had to know the questions and stuff like that. Jay and Colleen are on team. Okay. What is Jay's favorite hobby?
Fucking kids' toys.
Matt?
I was going to say toy collecting.
Okay.
It could.
When we're doing this, I'm sitting next to Jay. I go, oh, that's a bullshit thing. That's an automatic win for you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that. Well, Colleen didn't say toys.
Oh.
And I know she's going to get mad, but it's funny, so I must say. She said watching baseball.
What?
And everybody that knew Jay went, what?
Well, you've been married. Jeez.
And she's going to get mad because I was joking with her the whole time.
Well, maybe what I hope happens is that Colleen is eating a lot of edibles, like so much that she takes it at 1 a.m.
I don't think she watches
this.
But
and then she's like,
they started out fast, and then they kind of choked it at the end. We started out slow, Cindy and I. Well, they stole we had to do this thing with plastic tongs. You had to put one hand behind your back, and I can't keep a steady hand anyway. I'm like just shaking. And Cindy, this plastic Easter egg, and it kept springing out of the thing. So finally, I figured out how to do it. Jay goes, "Wait, let's do it this way," and they took it and they did a better job of it. And so they cheated. But Colleen yelled at me and said, "Just because we're younger and we're better, so we figured it out." I said, "Okay."
Fried green tomatoes.
But anyway, who won was Janelle, my niece, who's pregnant, and her husband. She's 8 months pregnant. You can't tell. It just looks like I have a bigger belly than she does.
So, is this the first time that like someone that's pregnant has won? Like,
it is, unless you consider I was pregnant last year. No, but Jay, we all got T-shirts because it's the third year. But yes, there was no
third year. It seems like it's been going on longer than that.
It seems like it, but it's not. It's a third year. Oh. We decided not to do the driving part, which if we would have done that, probably Jay and Colleen probably would have had, because they could. The last one was you had to build a fishing pole to catch these little lids to jars, and it took them a while to do it. So that cost them the amazing race. They finished 4th. We finished 6th. There were 10 teams.
Wow.
There was
sounds like fun.
My niece's husband, who's a really good guy, his family was in it. They're very competitive, and
he's a good guy though.
He's a good guy.
Nick and I would
very competitive. Anyway, they didn't win. So what's Colleen's theory?
Well, because her and Jay are competitive, which you wouldn't think they would.
It was they get so stressed out.
Yeah, they get stressed out about it more than anything.
Colleen said she didn't sleep the night before. I go, it's just fun. It's for fun.
She had a theory because people, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm probably either too kind or too cruel. I'm not sure, but like she said,
wait. Is it cruel like the last podcast you guys did?
We were cruel. We were just being honest.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Were we cruel to you, Jack?
No more than we normally are.
Maybe it wasn't, and maybe I was just high. I was
going
to go watch it. I was going to go watch it straight, but I said, no, because then I would know the truth. So I'm just blaming it on the edible.
All right.
So I think what she said was coming out of more of competition. Like she didn't want the more competition, because she explained it like, well, this is supposed to be for family, and these people aren't family, And she's like, and I think because they're
well, technically they are family.
Technically, but she's like, but we're trying to get them more involved. So I'm assuming that they're going to be the people who win because we want them to have a good time. And
but it was family that won.
I know.
She was saying this before.
She was saying before. She's like, I think these people are going to win because we want them to feel included. And I was like, we'll see.
Well, I don't care.
She was building up excuses because she.
I only got mad at one point because we were the egg thing. We weren't figuring it out. And it kept popping out. I was like, I'm ready to quit. And this is the first event.
Egg popping.
Me and Nick would win that one too.
Yep.
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah.
That's what Colleen had said that. She goes, I was like, well, I know I wouldn't be Jack's teammate because I would just get yelled at the whole time.
I don't yell at Cindy. I don't. In fact, I did it one time because in the fishing game, I was able to. Both of us had to catch one of the things. Well, I hooked it on this. It was all built. You had just little pieces of wood, and you could use everything that's in the bag. And my niece is an engineer. What?
I should switch here?
No. Yeah. No, put it the way it should be.
This is how it is.
Is it that way? I always thought I was on where Chris is and Chris is the other way. Am I wrong? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's no.
Is it the other way?
Right.
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Anyway, so I hooked it with the fork the back of the fork.
That really feels wrong.
Hooked it on there. I kept telling Cindy, I go, no, go past it, and as you pull back, it'll hook it on the thing. She goes, I am doing that, and she wasn't doing that. I'm like, I go. She goes, now you're bugging me. I go, all right, I'm going to walk away. Because that's what I had to do. So, but she was like, we could have probably finished like third. We finished fourth in that. So I didn't. I said no. Use the fork, just like I did. I grabbed
Use
it.
the force.
And then she grabbed one, and then the two newer teams were all banging for the same. They're hitting our fishing pole.
Oh,
We're hitting their
they were
fishing pole.
banging.
Well, it was getting violent.
Okay.
It was.
All right.
I don't know if they were banging. I guess that's not a proper term I should use, but they were anyway.
I did want to.
I thought
So
it was
that type of family.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
They're having fun. It's all that matters. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think if Colleen and Jay would relax a little bit, and not be so intense, I think they would.
Oh, really, Mister? Well, I think we could have been in third, but
well, I'm not as that was the only time other than the egg thing that I
We could have gotten the bronze, but no.
See, you should have taken the gummy before the race. And then,
that would have been good. That'd have been good. Yeah, I'm all.
We should all.
You're trying
just
to
get
trying to
high
stab
and
me
do
with a
these
fishing pole.
Challenges.
to be fair, if Chris was your partner, Jack, you would just interrupt him and say, "You haven't seen that movie? Are you kidding me? You haven't seen that?"
It is shocking.
This reminds me of Star Trek Season 2, Episode 5. Remember that, Chris? Oh, no, you don't.
I don't remember it either because I don't have the my
burn.
okay. The whole problem with Chris not seeing Star Trek, of course, it's been on forever.
You got to see the email. You got to see the email.
Oh, I listened to one was really long, if I remember correctly.
Actually, all of them were pretty long.
And one was like, I go, are these just long emails, or am I just time is not a factor?
No, they're pretty long.
No, you were pretty high.
Like I kept jumping in thinking it was the end of the email, and Nick's like, "Nope,
We still got some more.
Oh,
But anyway, what I was saying is, Chris, do you like sci-fi, Chris?
Yeah,
You like it the sci-fi,
sure.
And you watch Manifest all the way through, but you quote Star Trek. It just shocked me that you'd never seen it. It just stunned me. But again,
no. So hold on. I never said I never had seen it. I just didn't watch it like you were talking about how it was like always on in people's homes.
Yeah,
I've seen
it was available for people to watch in their home.
Well, we do have confirmation though of somebody in the area of why Chris wouldn't have seen it just on
they
TV.
didn't. No, if I remember the email correctly, it was that they didn't know.
You were high, dude. Everything is sus now.
They didn't know if Chris's area had it. Their area was a different area and had
right
4 different things they could watch. So we don't know for sure that Chris didn't have. I'm assuming. You grew up?
I don't think anybody at home gives a flying fuck.
I'm just trying to say what the email was, but don't worry, I won't say it again because I don't want to be bashed the next time I'm not on the podcast.
I mean, we didn't bash you; the listeners did.
The listeners, yeah, there were some people. Where is Randy? I thought we were friends, Randy.
I think he had something going on. Because
he's flying, but Randy wasn't even on my side, and I just
I was.
I said, okay, Randy, screw it, we're no longer friends.
Speaking of misunderstood people, and going back to Comic-Con, so I'm never gonna bash Cliff again because he did me a solid this year. So a few days before, he always comes down to visit me at my convention. Because they're probably not going to see me. So, and I had seen there were some lapel pins that were coming out for Fallout, the TV show, and they're the flags. Like, so
I watched because you guys suggested
the new California Republic flag. You have the machine, American flag, and all these different lapel pins. And I was like, "Hey, Cliff, I saw there's a booth selling these pins. Do you think if you see them, you can swing by and get them?" So, on preview night, he went, and apparently there was only 100 pins per flag. That was it. And he got in line first thing and waited like 2.5 hours.
Really?
To get me those pins. And
what a good guy.
It's always
a hot dog too.
It kind of makes up for the hot dog.
Let's don't go crazy.
Fuck you, makes up for the hot dog. It was me that didn't get the hot dog.
I always enjoy seeing Cliff because I see him once a year, and that's Comic-Con. He's looking good. He's looking good.
Matt K says you are old, and it is Chris.
Okay, I don't get it.
And it
I
is
don't get
Chris. What is? And it is.
I don't
Chris.
get it, Matt K. Are you
Sometimes I
bashing
don't
me?
get-
Are you bashing me or
sometimes
Chris?
The jokes in the chat they often don't
Line up.
make up.
Yeah,
They don't
right.
line up. So like
Because we're
definitely a
just
weird
about
delay.
we do.
So
There's
that
a
could have been
delay.
from like 5-6 minutes ago. We wouldn't.
By the
know.
time Matt K's hearing this, he's already typing out. An
Yeah, so he's
answer.
typing his right.
So you assholes don't get what I'm saying.
Did this?
And
Shut
to
up,
be,
man.
and to be
Over
fair,
there.
I've reached a point in my life I just don't care.
No,
I
you
like that-
do though.
I like
think
that
you
Matt-
care.
No, I
A lot
don't.
of
I don't
people
care.
in the chat tonight.
Yeah,
So
there
really,
are.
really happy about that.
Anyway, there was someone else in the chat last week that said something.
Randy's on a plane.
Randy's on a plane. Yes. Well, you know what, Randy?
I'm on a
I don't
plane.
Listen,
care.
motherfucking Randy's and the motherfucking.
I never
plane.
ran into Jim. My mom's. I had to.
He's a
thing.
snake.
But
Just fucking Professor
Muncher.
Slytherin in
Slithering
first
around.
class.
We're getting absurd.
upside.
Yeah, you know, if for those who watch Inside Out, we're living on our Goofy Island.
Ooh, or goofy.
I watched that with my son the other night, last night actually.
First or
It was
second one?
actually
Sure, you can
the
watch
first
that.
one. The first one.
This one's great.
And it was really cute to watch.
I liked
Watch
the
it.
second one. I mean,
So my daughter saw the second one in the theater. I haven't gone I've only gone to the theaters once in the last couple of months. This is my transition conversation, and that was to see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Awesome.
oh, nice,
Awesome film.
cool.
Yep, so much fun.
I haven't seen the first one yet.
Oh, really?
The
The
first,
first
is-
Deadpool.
it's like 2015.
It's a great. The first one.
First one's
arguably,
good. Second one,
Or maybe
I
I,
think-
have and I can't remember it.
I mean, I actually think I like the first
liked-
one the best. Of the
I like
Really?
Ryan. I like Ryan.
Yeah.
I like the characters that are in the second one almost better.
I enjoyed the second one. I thought it was fun.
There's
It
three,
was-
right?
it was
I
nowhere
like
near
it
as
because
good
it gets
as
more
the
it gets more in the mutant territory, and
It
I
does.
love X-Men.
This is the third one.
this is the third one.
This
yeah.
is the
Third
third one. Yeah,
All right, I'm going to watch them. I'm going to watch them.
Yeah, you should. They're actually a lot of fun. I mean, I think that the whole premise of how how the movies even came to be is probably the best part, right? So, so Ryan Reynolds had been pitching Deadpool for years and like really wanted to make a Deadpool movie and maybe a potential franchise. So he leaked test footage that he had funded himself for the first Deadpool movie. He wasn't supposed to do it, but he leaked the footage back well before the movie came out, the first one, and it got so popular, like online, like it went viral, and their studios were like, "Well, yeah, if I can make this movie now, right?" So they made the first couple of them, but this one here,
And they all made money, right? They're
oh yeah, absolutely.
Wait, it made 600 million in 7 days.
What's crazy though is
Really?
that if
The new one,
yeah, like there is no quarter for like spoilers. I mean, if you open up TikTok, like there's tons of people like straight up filming the movie and like posting it on TikTok, like live streaming or like recording bits and pieces. But it was a ton of fun. And like there's we can't really talk about it unless you wanted to get spoilery, because like there's so many like surprises.
I can jump off if you
No,
want.
that's fine.
No. We wouldn't be doing the listeners a service if we talked about it, because like there's no way to talk about the movie without spoiling stuff.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job. I mean, they did a really fucking good job. The writing was awesome. The jokes were just constant and consistently fucking funny. Like,
and that's what blew my mind about it, is that I remember them saying during the writer's strike, it happened last fall. That's when they were filming it. And they said that Ryan Reynolds could not improv, which is what he does, because of the writer's strike. And so he had to do everything exactly as it was written. I'm sure they fudged it a little bit from time to time, but it's good. I mean, from the opening scene to all the way, it's good. Lots of cameos, lots of really good humor, a lot of inside jokes that you will either get or you don't get. And
yep.
But it
There's
doesn't
a ton
matter
of
if you
Easter
do or
eggs
don't.
too for the Marvel Universe nerds. There's a ton of Easter eggs, and little head nods to different portions of the MCU
And then sometimes the background stuff is just as funny as what's
Yes.
happening on screen. Like, and that's what I love, is like I focus, where I'm supposed to be focused, but then I'll just kind of glance over, and you'll see other shit that's going on. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's one of those movies you definitely can go see it more than once and probably see things you missed. But if anyone on the fence, I don't think anyone's on the fence. Everyone in America has seen this movie, but excellent.
I haven't seen
excellent
it
play.
I'd
Well,
like
you
to
will.
see it.
I'm not in America technically, so.
Where are you, Jack?
No, I'm just saying because you said everyone in
Did
America.
you eat another edible?
I may have. No,
Speaking of other comic book news, though, we kind of chatted about this in our texting thread, though, but Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom.
So,
I think everyone kind of has mixed reactions to that, but
at
least I do.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy he's more than capable of doing it, but it's one of those where they have to, if they're going to work it into that one random time where Dr. Doom is Iron Man, or that's fine. It's one of those things though that I kind of felt that was almost a jumping the shark type moment of, since Phase 4 and Phase 5 have been such bad things. It's like, oh, we need to bring back the one guy that can, correct the helm. But I think Deadpool and Wolverine kind of did that too in a way. But,
so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was watching. I can't talk about it without spoiling stuff. So I will say there's an interview that was done with Kevin Feige, whatever his name is, talking about kind of how the future of Marvel Cinematic Universe could unfold, and what pieces of the puzzle are kind of like dictating that. So once you have seen Deadpool, just you'll probably like find it on your algorithm, but there's a couple different interviews with Kevin Feige that really lead towards the why behind Robert Downey Jr. playing that role.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool, but again, you got to see Deadpool first.
I'm excited for both things, I guess. It's like, no doubt. Because I mean, there's definitely, they never do it exactly how it is in the comics. It's always some kind of iteration or variation of, and if you've read the comics, it's like, you're kind of expecting like, when you do get those Easter eggs that nod back to the comics, you're like, cool, all right. Sometimes you wish you could just get the main story, but it's like you can never recreate it exactly. So I think the one thing about the multiverse and the whole, like, what is real, what is true, what is the one line, it's like people want an answer, they want a canon, or they want a through line, or what's the point of it all. So I think at some point they have to kind of pull some of that together, I guess, in a nutshell, to kind of give us a reason to care, I guess, about all of these.
I think they're doing a good job with it. I think they've got an idea.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the other film, I'm sure you guys saw when I text that. The one I do not recommend is Twisters. I thought it was a pile of shit.
Oh.
I got that from your little thing.
Yeah.
So.
I have not heard or seen a positive review about this movie.
I mean, I've heard.
I was more surprised that you went to see it. Honestly.
Yeah, I didn't. The thing is that I had heard a few people say it's
Nick okay.
Yeah, I know.
Is he missing in the Midwest?
I had the time, so I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go see Twisters on Friday, and I'm gonna go see Deadpool over on Saturday. It's gonna be a 2-day movie, theater thing.
Right.
And I have not been more angry at a film since the prequels.
But you didn't walk out.
Whoa!
Why were you angry?
So, as you guys know, I'm a plot person, and if you basically copy another movie, or for this example, remake Twister, I wasn't even holding it to a high bar either. It's just like,
so it's just a remake.
It's a remake. It's a shitty remake. That's all it is.
So I thought
it was supposed to be completely. I thought it was supposed to be its own like standalone movie.
No, it's not. I mean, it is. But it's a standalone movie in the same way The Force Awakens is a standalone film.
Okay, hold on. So is it in the same universe as the first movie?
Yes.
Okay, so there's references to the first movie?
And that's what pisses you off about it as well, is that there's no reference whatsoever other than the opening scene. You see the container has, Dorothy on it.
Oh, okay.
That's it. There's no picture. There's no picture of Bill Paxton or Helen Hunt. There's no mention of them.
The
There's
main
no
characters, like not like the Bill Paxton Helen Hunt love child.
Yeah,
like it's not.
It's nothing. Nothing's right. The thing is that it's the same beat for beat plot.
Now I'm not even gonna watch when it comes to Max or whatever.
Because it's also shittily done too. If shittily is even a word.
Shittily done.
And it is now. That's our episode.
Shittily done, my lad.
Can we use that as the title? Shittily done.
Shittily done. Shittily done.
So how in the first film, you set up the premise very well, and that Helen Hunt's a little girl, and her dad, and her parents, everyone gets sucked out the door or whatever, and it's true. Bill
Paxton's kids in it?
Paxton's kids in it?
He looks nothing like Bill Paxton, by the way.
Then I don't like him. I'm not watching it.
So it's how in the first film that Helen Hunt, the reason why she gets into it is because her family got killed and all that.
So this is
yeah.
Is there a flying cow?
There's not a flying cow.
Then fuck it. I ain't watching it.
No.
Did they drive through the house with the truck?
They did not drive through the house. That was also another big complaint of mine, is that they did not up it in any way. Like, in that you have a big tornado, you have two twin tornadoes, but there's no, there's one scene where they could have, where this tornado goes into a oil refinery, and you totally could have had a fucking flaming fucking tornado.
That should have been a slick scene.
A fire tornado. And it would have been like, yeah, how badass is that? They don't do it. It's like, why would you not do that?
Fire tornado would be the next level.
Exactly.
Right?
I thought it was going to be
don't knock it up a notch at all. Yeah.
Come on.
Matthew Treese coming in hot, though, says he thinks it's big dumb fun, and he gives a total sign off on Glenn Powell as a movie star.
He's the lead.
Yeah, he's the lead. Yeah.
The only movie he's been in that's good, right? Is Top Gun.
Top Gun, yeah.
Wait, what was he?
I mean, he has that movie
like
star jaw.
He's good looking. Let's face it.
He's good looking,
and he's built like me. So.
All right, I'm looking it up here on my screen here so that I know.
He was in that movie with what's her name from White Lotus as well,
Cindy Sweeney. But
that's true. The romantic comedy. Yeah.
But it didn't do very well, did it?
No.
Okay. Glenn Powell. Now I know who you're talking about, and he was in another movie that I watched recently. Funny that you should mention this Netflix movie I just randomly watched. It's called Hitman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To watch. I haven't got around to it yet.
Okay, can I give a brief review of it?
Sure.
I won't spoil it.
You're the host. Do whatever you want.
Well, don't make it sound like I'm a czar over here or something.
No, I'm just saying you're in charge. Do what you want.
Yeah, I'm in charge now. Finally. No, I just happened to watch it on Netflix. I was like, oh, Hitman.
It's a TV show, right?
No, it's just a movie. It's just kind of a standalone movie. If there's more to it, I'd be shocked.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I do.
It's big dumb fun. It's not as much.
Is it good? But is it good?
I would say that is. I did not like it, and I watched the whole thing. So,
would you watch it again?
Not really.
Would you recommend we watch it?
Here's what I'm going to say. I would not classify it as an action movie. It's more of I think it's more of a rom-com in that way. So it's not an action. You barely see the action go down. It's more about the rom-com and an emphasis on that. So
anyway, what's the movie? One of my favorite movies in the 80s. My God, I can't think of it. Gross Point Blank.
I'm reading Matt Treese's.
No, because he's pretending to be. It's a fish out of water. He's pretending to be someone that he's not.
Well, he's like Kevin. He's been in a lot of movies lately.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that
he's the best part of Twisters. I will admit that he's the only believable character in the entire film.
Wow.
What about the Twister itself? Was it believable?
It should have been fire, man. Light it up.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't want to be too spoilery, but I'm just saying, the beginning of it.
It gets windy.
The main character, which is the woman, the young lady. Just the whole setup to me was not believable. And then, like I said, in the Helen Hunt version, you know why she's into what she's doing. This one, she
was mad about you, wasn't she?
She was totally mad about me. So it starts off, they're in a car or a minivan or a truck, whatever, and it's this main guy, her, and then you have two people in the back, and they don't even properly set up the characters. I felt well enough to understand like what they're doing or why they're doing it, and because they're all in their early 20s, and you're like, well, they're not believable as characters, and then of course tragedy happens, and then it skips forward 5 years, and it just at no point did I believe any of the characters. I just didn't. And to me, it was just, and you'll see like instead of a movie theater, it's a rodeo. Instead of and they still went with the aspect of like there's two teams like they did in the first one, and the second team is not even needed. It's just like they should have just cut that out and then just had her be like, "Hey, you're famous from this thing that happened to you earlier in the film," and then that character shows up and is like, "I want you on my team because they're YouTube stars and we need someone serious to help us guide us through this thing." And there's just so many ways that I remember sitting there watching on, this should have been rewritten, that should have been edited out. It was just a shit film to me. But I mean, that's my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have liked it even if a shark would have came out of the tornado. It would have at least been like,
well, at least the cow.
At least the cow.
That's what I remember from Twister is the cow going across.
That's what I'm saying. This one should have had a baby.
So you're saying not to watch it?
Not to watch. I mean, if you want to watch it once it comes out for free, and you want something to entertain you.
I was watching the previews. I go, this looks like it's be pretty good. Because I
shockingly,
like the first one.
Nick not blown away by Twisters.
Was not blown away.
I get it.
His emotions didn't get sucked up into this one.
Well,
like I said, my bar was really low for it too, and I did. I almost thought about getting up and leaving. But I was like,
so did you watch it were you there by yourself at the theater, or did you have? So you could have walked off. You could have walked away.
You could have Pee Wee Herman the whole thing.
Speaking of shitting on things, I'm catching up, and I haven't quite finished it, but I'm catching up on The Boys.
The Boys.
This season sucks.
It sucks. The last episode is great. The last episode's great. You will enjoy the last episode, but you're right. The whole season sucks.
What the fuck, man?
I'm glad I didn't watch
think
it.
I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in. I don't know. It's like a chore. Like I haven't been able to sit through and watch an episode in its entirety. Whereas before, I would be like glued to the screen.
It lost its edge this season. Yeah,
like I drift off and I do something else.
I think it was the guy from Twister that was.
Well, this is season 4. So, Oh,
I know. I feel like it lost its edge on season 3 because I was losing interest in keeping up with it. I was just like, why am I long?
I don't even know if I want to keep watching it. I'm just like, bro. But everyone said, "Oh, you got to watch it to the finale because the season finale is supposed to be amazing." But
season finale is good. Yeah, it ended solid. But
can you just watch? Can I just watch the season finale?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
It's a free country. You can do what you want, Jack.
Is it a free country?
You've taught me so much.
But there's only going to be one more season, Chris. So,
yeah, good. At least they know the writing's on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys been watching the Olympics at all?
No.
I thought it was
I haven't watched
satanic.
Olympics since like 08.
I just turned it off because it just offended me.
There's one thing that drives me crazier than anything else is the fervent all of a sudden I give a fuck about people swimming for 2 weeks out of every 4 years. and everybody apparently becomes like a fucking aquatic experts or gymnastic experts.
That is true.
It's like you literally have not mentioned gymnastics or swimming in 3 years and 325 days.
But that to me is what makes the Olympics different because you are watching. Because I remember it was before your guys' time. ABC Wide World of Sports, they would bring you.
I was giving you the center stage.
You just figured out how to get Jack to shut up. Yeah. Give him the screen.
No, you guys were talking about something. I didn't talk for a while. Anyway, look at the house. Look at that view. ABC Wide World of Sports would bring sports. I'm not going to look anymore because you're distracting me. Would bring you sports that you'd never seen before. But like I said, like I was watching swimming the other day, and this one female, she was from America. She was literally, it's 1,500 meters, I think it was. And she was like a lap ahead. How does this happen? These are the best of the best. How is she so far ahead? I mean, she literally was swimming this way. Yeah, I was like holy shit. And in gymnastics, go ahead.
Apparently, she's like the Ivan Drago of swimming for women swimming, and that she's been raised from a small child for this, and that's all she knows.
You will do
Well,
nothing but
she's.
swim.
I was like going, holy
Whenever
crap.
she swims, she's,
And plus, swimming. If you're going to train for the Olympics, I think that's the one you go for because you can win massive medals, right?
No.
Then you become.
oh,
You can
so,
be
yeah,
called.
right, true.
You can be called the greatest athlete. You know, like what's his name, Michael Phelps, and
These
yeah,
are all
my
the
fa-
medals popping.
My favorite meme I've seen so far of anything in the Olympics is the Italian shooter guy. You know, like
Yeah.
I guess I love that guy. He's like the most famous guy in the world right now.
Oh, right, right.
Because you know everyone else got the glasses and the big headphones and all this other shit. He just walks up, hand in a pocket, just like he just gets the silver. And you're like, what
he was
the hell?
he was like fucking Dirty Harry.
Yeah,
He's wearing readers. Like he's
Yeah.
like,
I got this. I was like, I know
He won
assassin
he won the silver, right?
So
Yeah.
no, he was not Italian. He was Turkish. Yeah, but
Turkish,
like, I know,
yeah, he won the silver.
I know an assassin when I see one, a hitman. So like,
you know, it's what's interesting. You mentioned like I think that like because of TikTok, right? Like I haven't had to watch the Olympics.
Right.
It's just being served up. And there's some pretty cool stories that are happening right now. Like, I mean, I don't give a fuck about gymnastics at all. I actually don't really care about the Olympics, but some of the stories are kind of cool. Like the kid who did the pommel horse thing that guaranteed the United States like a medal that from their gymnastics medal drought or whatever. I don't know if you watched that at all. You guys see that kid's performance?
Yeah.
It was pretty insane. Like they're showing after the fact, like the United States has been like on a however many year drought or how many ever consecutive whatever drought for the gymnastics team. And this kid who like he knows one thing and one thing only, right? Like the only thing that he does is pommel horse, and he's like the fucking best at it. But it's wild because they showed clips of this kid who sat there on the bench or wherever the equivalent of a bench is at the Olympics. And like didn't move a muscle for the entire competition, like had his head down and he was just in his own fucking zone. And then it came down to the last event and the whole thing was on his shoulders, like literally. And yeah, this dude, and he gets up there and he fucking slayed it. He absolutely just slayed it. Like that picture in the bottom left of how
this is the only event he does.
It's the only thing he does, and that was him. The entire competition, he was sitting there with like boom, arrive, pommel, leave. Exactly. Like that's all he did. But he got up there and he did like a damn fucking near perfect performance. I do actually do a little bit about pommel horse because a good friend of mine was actually competed back in the day.
I used to raise pommel horses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Nay.
farm I grew up on.
At least they're quiet and they don't eat a lot.
But it was actually pretty awesome because of his performance. The United States got their first medal in like forever.
I think
so
you have to admit though with gymnastics again, it's not something I'd watch all the time, but it's amazing what they can do. Like you said, the leaping and the spinning and all the other stuff.
Dude.
The only complaint I had was the first night we're watching it. I'm in San Diego watching it. And I'm complaining that the women's team, I go, well, how do you know they're from America? If I didn't know, was it Simone Biles?
Oh, yeah.
I go, if I didn't know, and they weren't wearing red, white, and blue. And I go, I think they should be they were wearing black outfits. And my sister goes, well, they have tiny sequins that are red, white, and blue. And I go, yeah, that's great. I can't tell. And she goes, they're wearing blue pants. It just looks different on TV. I go, have you ever seen Wonder Woman? I go, okay, Wonder Woman, you can tell she's wearing red. To me, it was that the next time they were wearing red, white, blue. But it was a big.
They heard your feedback, Jack.
I would think so. I go, look, you're representing America.
Look, as someone here, my buddies didn't die face down.
Exactly.
For these girls to represent us across the pond.
I didn't know that Simone Biles took so much heat when the last Olympics. Yeah. I said, well, I wonder why she's competing. I wonder why she's competing again. Well, they did a story, and Cindy was watching some, I think it was Netflix or something like that, where she took so much crap and so much. This. I go, that's ridiculous.
Wow, she's like one of the best athletes ever.
Yeah, and then she came back, and Nick. I said,
it's because she didn't perform as well. Yeah, I thought she had an injury. Actually,
she did have an injury.
Yeah.
And so she didn't perform as well. So she got a lot of like kind of negative.
Move
like,
on.
Yeah. Because she's 27 now, and I'm like going.
20, yeah, I think she's 28. Yeah.
Well, they said 27, but they said I go.
Which is old for gymnastics.
It's very old for gymnastics, but she's amazing.
Yeah.
And I go. Why would people give her crap?
That's just people.
I just bothered.
It's like Matt and I were talking about that before we hit record. Like, I had put like a comment on someone was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time, which is a 6-year-old video game, and they were pointing a clip, and I was like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that at this level." I was like, "You should just basically it's a bear, like it's like don't kill the bear here, like wait and kill it later." That way
do you poke?
And of course, yeah, but like basically like it's like you get like thumbs up, and then you get like 10 comments of like, "What the fuck do you know?" It's like. It's not like I was saying like you're a fucking idiot or something. I was just giving the guy some advice.
Maybe they know who you are.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's it.
You try some fucking
the bear.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my only complaint about the Olympics. I think they should be wearing at least.
You know what we should do? I didn't realize it's an hour 50. We should probably take another commercial break.
Oh, in my day we took 5.
And I don't watch the basketball. I think it's a joke that these Americans, NBA players, are playing in the Olympics. I know it's not amateurs anymore in the Olympics, but it was.
Right.
It was. I know my day. It was much better when you had college kids going there to compete against the Russian cheaters.
It was. Well, that's the same way, because like China, North Korea, all these other countries, that's all they're training for, like year in, year out. So it makes sense for us to send professionals to the level of playing field.
I don't like it.
Going back to the uniforms, I don't know anything about that uniform. I remember some people were complaining because like Ralph Lauren, or Lauren, however you say it, had like the contract to give them like their casual wear stuff. I don't know what this is about, but and people were complaining because they were like these blue blazers that had like little kind of white and red trim on them, and they kind of looked like waiters. Like they didn't really look.
when they walked in.
Yeah, they had, they were in jeans and then these blazers, and they kind of looked just funny. To me, I didn't give a shit. Like, why would
who does any sport in jeans?
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
That's crazy.
Matt, what are you doing?
I was trying to find a way to derail the show. So
you did it. Anyway,
because if we have any emails,
we do have one. Yeah.
Okay, we need to get to the email. And cool. What?
I'm just looking at anything else like
if we do
Cobra
have
Kai season 6
because I'm getting pretty fucking tired.
I can tell that
you show up late and then you have the balls to start getting.
You got the balls to shoot.
You got the balls.
Well, I will say, while we're waiting for that email to be pulled up, I had a quick scarf down of a meal before I came onto the show. I've been using some of those never frozen mailed meals where you can just duke them up and then they're really good.
Yeah. Are they
Factor or
yeah, very good. I'm using it. It's actually Cook Unity, which I think is very superior. Yeah. But I had a pork chop tonight. I was like, what am I going to have? I'm about to record with Jack. I'm going to take a pork chop.
Okay.
And it was fucking disappointing.
Pork chops, if they're not cooked right, they're dry. They're not so tasty.
Jack was hoping for his Red Dead Redemption here.
And, yeah, he didn't get it. No, you thought I was going to give him one. But it was the parsnip puree was actually delicious, though. That was
I don't care if you like pork chop or not.
I am not eating any fucking parsnips.
Thumbs down.
Yeah. All right. So the email is kind of an echo of last week's podcast.
Oh, okay.
Instead of being titled for Chris, it's titled for Matt.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, no. Matt, the Nashville Predators are named after a saber-toothed tiger. The skull of one was found in a cave while building the bank headquarters in Nashville in the 70s.
Oh,
the name cool. Sabres, though, was already taken by Buffalo, so the name Predators was used instead.
Tiger.
Not sure why they didn't pick Tigers, but here we go. Here's the Preds logo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I like saber tooths. That's
I knew that. but I wasn't there, so I couldn't say anything.
Oh, you did you?
Looking
Mhm.
forward to going to the home of the Preds. September.
By the way, thank you. I think I know who sent us that email.
Yep.
Because we were like, wow, this person really seems to know about getting locked up in jail. Like
Yeah.
and but they have not. But they are very knowledgeable, and thanks for letting me know about that. It gives a lighter name to the idea of predator.
Because you were thinking Predator is like
I mean, nowadays, like,
someone
Predator
going
has
after a young child.
Sure, but Predator, I guess Sabretooth would have been cool if they would have just
I'm
called
Wolverine.
him Sabretooth.
It's Sabretooth. I'm Wolverine. You guys get that reference, by the way? I realize that's kind of obscure. There's like an old viral video of somebody adding human voices to animals in the wild.
Oh,
hysterical.
Huh. I was just thinking
I'm Wolverine.
of
I'm Sabretooth. Was two like meerkats going back.
I was thinking of the comic book characters. So
there is. I don't know if you've seen that clip, Chris, of is Ryan Reynolds like narrating over a nature video of Wolverine. And he's
that's
like,
awesome.
He's like, these guys fucking suck. He's like, look, we did like 6 hours, and this is the most action that we could put in it. And it's like him just like rolling in the snow for half a second. So then they finally just pan over to like a picture of Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Like, yeah, here's an old Wolverine past his prime.
Yeah, and fuck that guy, by the way. Fuck that guy.
Hugh Jackman?
There's that one scene you're just like, man, I am never going to be the man that Hugh Jackman is.
Oh, I thought you were.
Well, I'm not going to say it, but like the joke that they say at some point about him because he has got the full shirt on, and then later, like when you finally see him without the shirt, and you're just like, "Holy shit!"
That's
like,
the fucking scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, it pays off because of the joke that's said before, and then you're like, "Fuck!" But
yeah.
It's like I said, you guys are gonna
go see the movie, everybody. It's a good movie. Well, I'm not gonna say anymore because we're gonna spoil it.
I've also, before we go, started rewatching For All Mankind.
Oh, okay.
I was doing it on. I
didn't even think I finished this season. Did I?
I forgot how good. I mean, it's like almost watching a new. I forget that the High Bob came in season 1.
Season 1, yeah.
I'm like going, I thought that was season 2.
And that's what's crazy about the show is that I remember loving season 1 when it came out, and like no one watched it because we had Ted Lasso and all these other hot shows at the time, and I remember thinking that season 1 was like, that was good, and I figured that was going to be the end of it. And then season 2, it just went a totally different direction, and it got even better. And then of course,
awesome.
By the time we got season 3, I know Chris started watching it roughly around that time, and season 3.
I watched it
early
on.
But one of you guys did join it like right at that point. It was Jack.
I started watching it and stopped.
Yeah, and and then season 3 just just peaked, and then of course it could only go down really. But
right.
Like I said, I'm still very hopeful because I think season 4 was a needed transition, and I think it'll be. I'm hoping season 5 will be.
Well, they also had a show, The Right Stuff.
Yeah,
and it just I didn't think it was going to be a one and done, but I guess maybe it is a one and done because it never came back, but they never concluded anyway.
There's some things that should not be remade or redone. Right. It's like I really wanted to give
Twisters.
Like Twisters, yeah. Well,
I heard it's really good.
I might give it another shot, but like I really liked Time Bandits as a kid. It came out in 83.
Right.
And now they've got a series, and I didn't know that until I started watching it.
There's a series?
Yeah, there's a series now. Yep. And I didn't know that they replaced the dwarfs with people, and that kind of took me out of it because I was expecting to see dwarves, and I was like, what the hell? And then I read, and they thought it was going to be offensive, and I was like, why would that be offensive? They're real people, but I didn't get it. But anyway, so I kind of lost interest in it like 15 minutes into the show, and I was like, all right, I'll come back to it, but we'll see.
I guess that does it, right, for today. Should we wrap this puppy up?
Wrap it up.
We want to thank everybody that makes this show possible. Everybody that joined us in the in the chat as well.
Not everyone.
All of the Matts. There's multiple Matt sightings.
Did we ever figure out what
I feel like a Matt magnet.
Matt K was saying?
No, that'll be a mystery never to be solved again.
Okay, cool.
So, but thank you, Sherry, John, Jim, Miami Mike, everybody that joined us in the chat. And
way
we'll
to not allow the show to get derailed at the close. Nice job. This is why you make a great producer.
Oh, thanks, buddy. All right, Jack. Thank you for passing the torch. And we have to.
I wasn't passed. I was throwing it.
Yeah. Okay. I was picking up.
You actually left it on the ground. She was about to burn.
Anyway,
Yes,
we're gonna switch.
Olympic
All of us are gonna switch roles too. I think is what we were gonna do. So
yeah, we did. We decided that I'm not gonna do anything for a while. Chris is gonna take show notes, and Jack's gonna sing the song.
I'm not gonna be on top.
Oh, you're a bottom? Yeah, I figured.
Too much work.
All right. We'd like to thank the patrons that make this show possible, such as Eckhart, Richter, Glatfelter, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with the Master Plan, and Ed. I don't think you're poopy, but you might be a letter carrier still. So right on, man. Thanks, everyone. If you want to send us an email, send it to rcadcast@gmail.com and click like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Find us at Ramblecast After Dark.
Only a good producer would remember what our email is.
Sometimes I get halfway through talking and I think, is this the email? Is this it? All right.
Course is well done.
What? We haven't done that one for so long. Anyway,
that case, I guess I was behind. It was about being bashed in the last episode.
And that's the end of the show.
Good night, everyone.
Is it? Are you sure?
God bless.